Welcome to Zarzaur Law TV. We're here with Dr. Malone again for another segment. In this particular segment, we're going to be talking about the side effects, the bad side effects of antibiotic therapy, specifically those that affect your digestive system. Everybody's heard that you're supposed to take a probiotic with an antibiotic, but Dr. Malone's going to explain how this happens, why this is such a bad thing, and I guess from a physiological perspective, what actually is going on in the body that makes these reactions occur.
Yeah. Well, Joe had mentioned everybody's heard that you should take a probiotic, and that's not necessarily the case. And I've seen that.
I've been wrong before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I've seen that where someone who is in charge of their own health care and they get put on an antibiotic, and you mention it to them like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to take that. And that's the scary thing, right. Is recommendations now are you should take a probiotic with or in concert with antibiotic therapy. And this is for stuff where people have like cellulitis, pneumonia, something where you'd go to your doctor or to an urgent care center and they say, take this for 5 days and it'll clear it up. That's great, except for those drugs work really, really well on killing bacteria, including the good bacteria inside of your GI tract. One of the E. coli is the one that most people know about. Believe it or not, you need that to have a healthy digestive tract. So when you kill off that bacteria, two things happen. One, the lining of the intestines doesn't function as normal as it should, so it doesn't absorb fluid, it doesn't help you form stool as you normally would. Then the other thing is bad bacteria can take over, and that's where you hear about these drug-resistant things like Clostridium difficile that you get mostly in a hospital.
Say that again?
Clostridium difficile. Got its name because it's difficult to eradicate. Okay. It's Latin. But those can take over where basically there's an open environment for them to set up shop. And so that bad bacteria can cause what we call antibiotic-associated diarrhea or colitis or infectious colitis from a bad bacteria infecting where good bacteria should be living instead. So what do? You take probiotics while you're taking these antibiotic courses, even if you're a healthy person. Because, again, someone healthy takes these things and like for 5 days later, like, man, it tore me up and I was in horrible shape. And it's not to say that they had Clostridium difficile, but their good flora balance in their GI tract was disrupted.
So what are some brand name or some generic name antibiotics that are common that are maybe some of the worst ones to be looking out for?
Good question. There's the usual suspects, but then some people are more susceptible to ones versus other ones. Like so, any of the fluoroquinolones, ciprofloxacin, levaquin, Zithromax is one of them.
That's a Z-Pack.
Yeah, the Z-Pack. There used to be, not so much anymore, Ketac, which was in the same family that would cause that as well. And then the big bad one is clindamycin. That'll wipe you out pretty good too. So those are the big ones. But if someone says, oh, hey, I'm on doxycycline, for instance, you still need to probably take a probiotic, although it's not as much of an association with the diarrhea as those other 5 I had mentioned. So what do you take? There's tons of different probiotics out there. Over the counter is how you get them. You don't get a prescription for them, which is another reason why a lot of people don't take them, because they're not free and or cheap. So you got to pay another $10, $15 to get this stuff, but it can make your life a whole lot more pleasant for the next 2 weeks. So Florastor and Culturelle are the 2 name brand ones that you'll find at most pharmacies. Florastor, if you can only afford one. If you can get both, do both of them. The other thing you can do is have live active cultures in your yogurts or in some of the foods, and there's a whole list of other foods that you can go with, but the easiest thing is just yogurt. 2 yogurts, one twice a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, along with that.
In place of a probiotic?
With it usually, with it.
Oh,
yeah.
with it.
But if you can only do one thing and the yogurt's what it's going to be, then take it.
Do it.
And then it's recommended you continue this regimen for 5, 7, 10 days after your course of antibiotics ends. So don't just say, okay, here's day 5 of my antibiotics, and by the way, I'm stopping taking these things. You need to still restore that flora in your GI tract.
Great. Obviously, there's not a lot of legal concepts that would be amenable to a personal injury or medical malpractice law practice like mine from that, but there could be.
Well, and I'll interject. If you have complications from it, when you go to a hospital, tell them what was going on,
That's right.
why you show up with this big bad belly pain and you're dehydrated from all that because you've been taking antibiotics. That way the physicians can best take care of you.
The point I was going to make was maybe not all these videos are us trying to sell a service to you. We're us providing a service without looking for anything in return. So thanks for tuning in. If we can help you with any of your personal injury needs or if you have other questions for us, please contact us. We can be found on the web at zarzaurlaw.com. Zarzaur Law, at Zarzaur Law for Twitter, and 855-HIRE-JOE by telephone. Thanks.